start with the safety share, but this is going to be all safety today. So what's important to me is what I wanted to take everybody through was the 2019 strategy for the district. And the strategy is this 11-step process. And it really began back in, well, for the district, it began back in November when we had an outside district manager who's used this process in a lot of places that he's been. He spent time with the district staff training us specifically on each of the steps. And from there, Ivy made a commitment to the staff and to the district as part of it that she wanted to individually train all the managers herself. She didn't want to delegate that responsibility. But obviously, with the size of the district, it took a little bit of time. You know what? I'm getting a lot of feedback. Can you hear that feedback, John Cardello, out there?
Yeah, I can occasionally. It goes in and out, and that may be our phone. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe we can just do some mute. If not, I'll just kind of mute everybody here on this end, but I don't want to lock out any questions. But nevertheless, then she started down the journey of training all the managers. We were actually scheduled as a division a couple times, but due to Mother Nature, really didn't make it until a week ago last Friday. And we were finally officially trained, less Fitzy, because he was on vacation that week. But as we go through this, you know, I'm going to preface this with this. You know, for those that have been in the division for a while, I know we got some folks that are new to the division on the call. You're going to see a lot of things that have been part of our DNA here over the last 6 years. And you say, well, you know, we've done a lot of this stuff, but maybe we just don't do it to the extent that we did it once. And what we're going to find is that this fits right into the way we approach safety in the division, and that's making it personal. Knowing that developing world-class business relationships gets us to where we want to be, first on safety, and then really for anything we want to accomplish within the division, because without our people, we can't get anything done. So I'm going to go through the 11 steps. If you were sitting in with Ivy, she'd start with accountability, because usually that's the white elephant in the room. I don't think the accountability piece is that big a deal on it, so I'm going to keep it right where it is. The key step that I think is a big deal is number 5, the management safety commitment. So that's where I'm going to start, and then I'll go through the rest of the 11. And there's going to be things as we go through that that have nothing to do with the supervisor responsibility. It's building related, it's manager related, it's me division manager related. Know what it is? Whoever ID is, whoever EJQ7ZXY is, whoever's logged in as that. In fact, I'm going to mute them and see if that fixes it. It does. So whoever that person was. Wherever I left off, I'm going to start at number 5, management safety commitment, because to me, that's the genesis of the entire 11 steps. That starts with making a decision to make it personal in a way differently than we've done. We've done one-to-one discussions before. We've kept journals and talked to our people around something about them specific, so we know them at a personal level. The safety commitment's a little bit different and a little bit deeper on that. So I'll get right into it. Okay. All right, so on a high level, what it is, every management person, full-time and part-time, is going to be asked to write a commitment statement that will read in front of their work group explaining their personal commitment to safety. So, without reading each of the bullets, what the letter is intended to do, and really what this 11-step process is intended to do, is really make it clear that we face the same risks as a management team as what we ask our people to do every single day. And I think as a management team, we're always very good about asking people to change their behaviors, whether it be around safety, performance, service. You need to do this different. And in the end, we face a lot of those same at-risk behaviors in the world that we live in every single day too. Now, a driver may face a lot more risk than we do because they're out doing 100, 125 stops a day, and we're not necessarily on the road every single day. As an on-road soup, you're certainly on-road more than most management folks, that's for sure. So it's about sharing with them is that, hey, I'm asking you to change the risk level in your life, but I'm doing it too. And here's what I do wrong that I've made a decision myself that I'm going to change. And that's what the letter is intended to be. It's not intended to be broad scope. It's not intended to be, here's what I'm going to do with my team. I'm going to commit to working safer. No, it's about what specific at-risk behavior are you going to change, and are you going to share it with your work group to really demonstrate that you're just like them and you face the same demons that they do. For me personally, I talk a lot, and I already have this year, about my habit of rolling stop signs, and use a specific example of that right outside on Foden Road here. I'm not going to get into full details of that, but I did share my vlog with that, where I got into more depth that included the letter. I've emailed the letter out several times, but the intent is to share that and let everybody know that I'm not just asking you to make changes. I'm making personal commitment to changes in my life too. So, around that, they need to be specific. All the manager letters were asked to be addressed to Ivy. I'm asking the remainder of the letters in the division to be addressed to myself, with copies going to your manager. I'm asking the full-time letters to be complete this week and reviewed with your work groups this week. I'm asking part-time soups by the end of next week. I'm asking letters to be posted. Let's start with my letter and the manager letter, and it's someplace visible on a work board down in the center somewhere. We want our folks to read those. As I said, I put the video together. Nobody asked me to do that, but I thought, I use that vehicle to communicate quite often. So I put the video as well in that. So that's really the method behind the madness of the letter, is to let our people know that we're no different than them. And in reality, nobody's going to get me to change my behavior about me. It's not going to be a cop sitting on the corner giving me a ticket. It's not going to be Clem out doing an observation. It's me making a choice to come to complete stops for all the right reasons in that. So I spent a little bit of time on this first slide because obviously I think it's the most important. And that being said, as I'm getting a lot of letters in, I'm reading them all. And I'm sending some back because they're not as specific. And to me, that's on us, because that means me, the managers, aren't being as clear as we can in regards to what the letters are. And that makes sense, because we're trying to roll things out and get things back all at the same time. But the intent isn't to check the box. We put end dates on it. The intent is to put some thought behind it, and to make a change for the right reason. So and I'll be quite frank, I've gotten some letters back that look exactly like other letters. Take that for what it's worth. Okay, so it's not a checkbox game in my world. We're gonna read the letters, we're gonna share the letters, and it's not gonna go away in there. So questions in regards to that, and I'll throw in these 2 cents. It's going to be like anything else. For those of you that have been around and went to one of our supervisor conferences, there's going to be 10% of people that are going to have letters in immediately. 80% of the people are going to get them in because we've been clear on regards to why and what our expectations are. And 10% we're going to have to play chasey chase with. Unfortunately, that's the truth about everything that we come across. Hopefully not in this case if we do it right. But we'll see. And those are the dates. Okay. Eliminate the risk videos. Okay. We do a lot of videos about a lot of different things. And this is a building specific slide. And all it is intended to do, and the heaviest lift is really just getting the individual videos. All it is intended to do is to get all of your people in a video. Try to get everybody in the building in the video for a couple seconds at a time. Why? Because people love seeing themselves on video, on pictures, and get them engaged. What this isn't, it isn't a prevent slips and falls video. This isn't how do I put safety chains on my vehicle because it's going to be snowy and icy out. Those are methods videos, training videos. This is an eliminate the risk video. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up with divisional slogans and center level slogans, if you want, that all your people can rally around 2 seconds at a time. Hey, I'm all in on safety. Boom, off to the next person. 3 people at a time. We're all in on safety. The division slogan that we chose was really based off of the Snappy Safety Relay, and it was Fitzy right out of the box. I had a lot of fun with his kickoff wearing the Snappy costume, and he used a slogan in there the shellfish about your safety. And I love that, and I'm going to use that as the overlying theme as the division. But the videos need to be building specific, and if you want to use that slogan, great. If you want to use a center specific slogan, even better. The slogan doesn't matter. It's something that you can have fun with, create a lot of energy with, get everybody on video with. The hardest thing about it really should just be trying to piecemeal the video together. I've gotten pretty good at it, so I'll help any center that wants. Once you do one, you'll get better at it. I bought a little software for my laptop, cost $70 to put it together. Other people have their own editing software, but that's the intent of it. Just some fun for that. There are a lot of examples already out there. Every day, the Northeast District Safety sends out their YouTube channel. I got a snippet of it there. There's lots of examples of what a lot of centers have done to create clarity around that. So make it fun, make it energetic, and we're looking to have that done by the end of March. By the end of the first quarter, shouldn't take that long, doesn't need to be a Disney production, just needs to be fun, energy, something you can play on your TV, something we can share with the district. We don't have any done in the division yet. I know Rockland's planning on doing theirs this week, so maybe they'll be our first ones out of the box. Questions on that? Okay, the next several slides are about small group discussions, which we've done in the past, which I've been doing for years and years and years. We call them, whether you call them world-class safety meetings, call them one-to-one discussions, employee reviews even, whatever you want to do. But small groups where you can engage the people that are with you. And really the one change that I've done in my division manager small groups is I still really center it around the pyramid of safety. As you all know, I'm a big believer in that. I think risk is something we'll talk about every single day for as long as we live. But what I've done is I've obviously taken the at-risk behavior in my life that I've committed and put to paper and shared, and I'm dovetailing that into my pyramid discussion. And so far, so good. I think that it's gone smoothly, works well with the pyramid, obviously with the risk, especially when it comes to complacency and the bulletproof mentality, because that's really what it's all about at the bottom line. So that's what my small group discussions are. I'm keeping a local roster on a spreadsheet just because it's only me that can roster them, so I just keep it locally in there. So I'll be doing that all around. Already been doing bunches of them. Similarly, the managers have been asked to do the same. 4 to 6 employees, end game discussions about the family. I attended Clem's this morning in Portland. It was very good. That was his first one. He even says, as he gets the feel for them, they'll even get better. But it's really intended about transparency, to share our letter, to talk about eliminating risk, how we're going to do that, how we're going to overcome. How are you going to really overcome getting someone to change a behavior when nothing's ever happened? Very, very hard to do. We don't become advocates for stuff until bad things happen, unfortunately. I used an example this morning about the serious dog bite they had in Portland. Is how many people changed their behavior around dogs after seeing Mike Rich get his ear bit off? And then you ask, well, we've been talking dogs till we're blue in the face longer if you listen to Fitzy, right? So why does it take a dude getting his ear bit off for me to act differently around dogs? Because we're human. We're human, unfortunately. We don't become advocates for things a lot of times until something's bad's happened, because nothing's happened. So the managers have been tasked with that. A couple things they're being asked to do is calendar them out. Send me the calendar, send Allison the calendar, but more importantly, let each of the people know when they're scheduled to attend. So it's not one of these, hey, tomorrow, Wednesday, I need 6 people for a meeting. That's not what it's supposed to be. And then we're going to track using the GEMS code 2111 for the managers. GEMS code we've used before. So if managers and division managers doing it, yep, we're going to do supervisor level 2. So we're going to have these. We're going to pound folks to death, right, with one-to-one discussions and small group discussions. So the supervisor level one's going to be a lot more structured. There are going to be 4 specific engagement series that are laid out that we're going to do, and we're going to ask that we do them in order. The first one's about eliminating risk. The second one is I choose to eliminate risk because myself, my family, my fellow employees, level 4, right? Risk assessments, consciously choosing to eliminate all risk. And then finally, I'll make conscious choices to remove risk. And I got the scripts in this PowerPoint, but they'll also be distributed in docs. But same gig. You know, we want them done in small groups, 1-to-1. We're gonna roster in 1603. What I don't want to happen is to get in front of a group of people and read the scripts. You know, we got 4 scripts. Here's what we're gonna read and what we're gonna do. What I want to do is make sure that we deliver it in our own way. And I'm going to deliver it differently than Clem delivers it and differently than Joe Blaze delivers it. What matters is the message and how you deliver the message, and that it's sincere, and that they're understanding that you care about them and why we're talking about those things. So some folks that are new, I mean, we've got a lot of brand new soups in the division, you know, less than a month. They're going to need some role playing and assistance. We got some senior supervisors that say, just give me the topic and let me go. Okay. That's fine. That's what it's all about. So that's the super level 1 that we're going to roster 1603. We'll track in the reports that I always do. But you can see discussion 1, discussion 2, discussion 3, and discussion 4 gives you quite the detail of what, you know, a 5 to 7 minute. In addition, you can watch examples of these conversations on that district SharePoint site as well, or on the district YouTube site. Okay. Questions on the 1-to-1 engagement strategies? All righty. Number 6 is the safety huddle. And we've done 1 so far, and this is a me Ed thing. And what I will be doing is I'll be doing a safety huddle. And all the safety huddle is something different with the entire work group in regards to the messaging. And there are other examples of other divisions, lots of them out there on that YouTube as well, including the one I did in Wells. And the first one we did is what I obviously did is I shared my letter with the group. It was fairly recent. It was in January, so it was after peak. So I used Snappy Safety Relay banner. We took that down, and we had everybody sign that banner as a commitment to 2019 to work safe. So I said, okay, and that worked well. And we got everybody involved in the videos out there, and the video's pretty good. But it got me thinking, we can make it better. So what you see on the screen here is an example of the banners that I had made up, and I got them. They're all sitting in the office. They all came in today. This is what the banner is going to look like, except for where it says Snappy and get everyone to sign. It's actually just a big white heart. But through the Snappy Safety Relay, had a driver's sons, when he showed them the video, they got all excited because they actually wear shark pajamas at night. They're into sharks and whatever. So that gray thing's actually a shark next to Snappy, and so's the blue thing, if you can see the teeth on top. Well, they were so excited to come in and meet Snappy on a Saturday morning before we dispatched during peak. We got some great pictures with them. And to me, nothing else embodies more what we talk about when we say most important stuff. So I got Matty Krupnik's permission to use his boys in our banner that we're going to use across the entire division. I'm going to use the division level pledge or whatever. What words am I looking for there? The blah, blah. The be selfish about your safety, whatever you call that slogan. And then I'm going to ask everybody to sign that. Take the pledge to eliminate risk and make your most important stop, and ask everybody to sign within the heart. So we're kind of redo the banner a little bit, and that's why I haven't done one since the Wells. But that's the safety huddle. It's not just a PCM. It's something just a little bit different. And as the year goes on, we'll do some things differently as well. All right. Management observations. So we've had a strategy around observations that's not going to change, and it aligns really with what they're asking, which is station managers 2 per week. I recommend that one of those be a QVA side by side. I prefer to see 2 of them. On-road soups 2 per week is the expectation. Inside full-time soups 5 per week because you're inside. I'm asking that a minimum of 3 be QVA side-by-sides with their part-time supervisors. I really would rather see that be 5, but I'll put it as 3. We do need to continue to dual enter those into forms.com and into the employee DB. Forms is obviously what we use corporately, Employee DB really is the only thing that'll give us employee level tracking, so we need to do that. My expectation is we still do observations 10 days after any type of safety train or after an incident in that. And this says PCIS documentation, but we can put the documentation right into SharePoint. Don't bother putting any documentation into forms. No, that doesn't get used for anything. Put all the documentation into the employee DB in that. And with, I'm going to talk at the end for any on-car soups that are on, really the last couple about the calendaring and the ride strategies and the 2 per week. And I'll get into that the last couple slides. I want to talk about that. One thing I do want to highlight as we go through this is our percent safe. If you take a look at the division's percent safe, we typically run about 92 to 94% safe, way higher than any other center. And if you think about it, if you kind of go old school, giving appreciative feedback at a ratio of 4 to 1, that's about an 80% clip and a 20% constructive feedback. So I kind of think that's a good rule of thumb when you're looking at percent safe. If we're given appreciative feedback at 4 to 1, that's 80% safe, 20% constructive feedback. So if you kind of look at the reports that Allison sends out, you see where we stand. Now, I know it's based off of the at-risk behaviors in there, but we're running 100% safe some areas, 83.5, anywhere in that 80 area to me is probably about right. Not that there's a right or wrong answer, but 80% is probably a good rule of thumb of where to be. Okay. Any questions on the observation strategy? I am in fuego here. Nice. Okie doke. You might have already heard about this because we've kicked it off. It's guard gate activities, and you may say, hey, I got no guard gates in Maine. Well, that is true. We have no guard gates. But people have to enter into the building some way, somehow, every day, and leave the same way. So what we really want to do is take Mondays and Fridays and really escalate what's going on when our employees enter our building and create awareness around them. And all the guard gate activities are meant to be, and it's not meant to be a heavy lift. It can be as heavy or as light as you want. It's really just about engagement with our people as they're coming into the building, whether that be drivers in the morning, preloaders in the morning, local sorters in the afternoon, whenever their day starts. And we want everybody to be engaged in that. Just meet and greet. This is a picture, for example, of a vehicle around. You can see a football, soccer ball, a bicycle there. And what I've asked is that we send one picture from each of the guard gate activities to Allison to put together. And what I'm really looking for is not what's in this picture. I want to see the people we're engaging with. I want to see our people coming through the gate. If we saw like 3 or 4 employees around this package car, that's what we're looking for. Because again, we can use that on our TVs and people want to see themselves. So we want to really, monument, make whatever the word is, but we want to memorialize what we're doing around guard gate activities or as people are coming in. We're gonna dovetail that into recognition as well. And then the front end of my weekly balanced scorecard call with the managers is we're gonna put that PowerPoint slide up. We did it today, and it wasn't 100% obviously right out of the gate. We had about 3 centers represented with what they did for guard gate activities and recognition. Second, and when I brought the stoplight strategy to the division a long time ago, my expectation is really that it is alive and well, because I think there's nothing easier to do than to turn a light red, yellow, or green and really communicate what the condition of that building is over the last 24 hours in regards to the safety. What it does is it creates people coming up to us asking us what happened. Instead of us always trying to push data and information down, the light bulb went off for me one day when I was leaving a building and the stoplight was red and I was walking out with a driver and we were just talking. And the driver turned back over his shoulder to see what color the light was as we were leaving the building and asked me what happened. And I went, shit, excuse me. And I went, okay, they're really looking at it and they want to know. They care about one of their partners got hurt or injured or in an accident. And they want to know why, they want to know how, what could they have done differently. And most importantly, they want to know that they're okay. So it's powerful and it's easy. Win-win, right? So it's a win-win. So looking for that to be active everywhere. I know we're not 100% in all buildings. Don't know what we were waiting for. I don't know if they're waiting for me to order a stoplight. Nobody's stopping us from doing that. So that needs to be part of our quote guard gate activities. All right, 9's the easiest slide of all. 9's just the attendance onto the CHSP calls. They have changed this year in their format. We used to have one big district co-chair call. We're still having calls, but what's happening now is we're really highlighting one committee at a time. So Ivy this Thursday is going to be in one package committee. Then later in the day, she'll be in a hub committee and then a feeder committee. And that committee is going to be one that is on plan for all 4 elements. And it's really going to be about allowing them to talk about all the great things that they're doing because people are proud of what they've done, and really just sprinkling accolades and dumping accolades on them and attaboys and attagirls and appreciatives of everything they've done to help in that center's or that hub's success. And that's what that's really all about this year, which I think is a great thing. It's a great thing. I can't wait till they come up here. Okay, and then finally, recognition. Recognition, or not finally, second to last, is recognition. Nothing new here. I know we had the reins on spending money during peak, rightfully so, and we got rewarded for that in a bit in terms of great earnings per share, which was a great deal. But we're back on. Those purse strings are loosening, and I use this example as UPS is UPS, and we're the way we are because of Jim Casey. And Jim Casey wasn't a cheap man, but he was frugal. Big difference. Frugal is he wasn't afraid to spend money, but he wasn't going to waste money on stuff that didn't provide value. And we're the same way. We're not just going to spend money for the sake of spending money, but we're going to spend money for milestone events, for Circle of Honor events. We just had a great one in Waterville on Friday in Hub safety bucks, if that's what they're going to do. We're not going to shortchange those things. We're going to spend money on the right things that really deserve it and have earned it. So that's what that's about. We want to document and share, as I already said, so I won't rehash that. And then what I'm going to ask is that we get better and more engaged in the use of social media to recognize our people. Couple reasons. One, I'm the district champion for it, right, for the entire Northeast District. I'm the champion for social media for recognizing our people. And I've tried to be as active, and lately I haven't been as active as I was over peak, but we have a Twitter account at UPS Maine. We have an Instagram account, Maine Division. I'm asking all the buildings to become active in it as well. Share pictures of your folks. Get people to join and see. People want to see themselves. And recognition is no better way to do it. It's a big deal. So you take a picture of somebody, you tag them, send it to me. I can share it. I got about 80 followers now. I know not huge, but I'm getting there. But it can be a lot of fun. And we want to do those couple things around safety recognition. Finally, accountability, and it's really just putting back in our weekly safety defect call. I have a morning call with the managers at 7:30. So this won't apply for any of the local sort folks that are on the call. We'll do something different on Monday afternoons. But for those that whether you're preload or on-car soup, if you have a defect in your area, you'll be invited to join our call on Monday mornings. The intent of that call is to spend zero time on the incident itself. Have no interest in rehashing why Jimmy backed into a house today, which by the way happened. But I have no interest in rehashing that. I would have already gone through that 10 ways from Sunday. Really what we're going to talk about is the supervisor's engagement in the 11-step process and what pertains to them. Talk to me about your risk elimination letter. More importantly, talk about how you're using that to communicate with your teams. Talk to me about the safety one-to-one discussions that you've been having. What's the feedback you've been receiving from that? Is the calendar available? Have you shared the calendar? Talk to me about your observation and DOK strategy. Where do you stand in regards to your team? And then finally, how are you recognizing people in your work group? Are you sending pictures? Are you using social media yet? What does the 11-step process look like in your world, in your area of responsibility? That's what the accountability is going to be about. And if we're doing those things, it should take zero preparation. Zero. Because you're involved in it every single day and you know what you're doing. For those that aren't going to do it, you're not going to be able to fake it. Simple as that. So those are the 11 steps. I have a couple more slides for the on-car soups that are on around calendaring and that, because there've been a lot of questions around that. But for the 11-step process itself, are there any questions? Clear as mud? Okay. Last couple slides is, okay, actually, a couple slides before I get into the soups planning slides is, a lot of this hopefully felt familiar. And a lot of it here, works. How do I know it works? Is because look at our trends. Look at our trends. Our trends are something to be extremely proud of in this division. Over the last 2 years, dark 7s down to 4s. And we've upticked a little bit here, but you can see where we've gone by having a similar type strategy. You take a look at the auto side, same. Boom, high of 7.6 back in the beginning of 2018, down to a low of 4.78. And we've upticked a little through peak here in Christmas in winter time. But we got to where we got by developing our relationships with our people, and that's not going to change. So this structure works. This structure is right in our wheelhouse, and I know we're going to hit it right out of the park. Let me see. Yep, okay. That's the last one on the 11-step process. All right, changing gears, a little, mostly, though we can talk about OJ observations a little bit. I really want to talk about the weekly planner, because it's not going to go away here in 2019. And it's not going away for on-road soups and the strategy. And I was on a corporate call last week, and it's really the corporate strategy. It's not just Eddie's strategy or the district strategy or the region strategy. It's the corporate strategy. And that's for on-road supervisors to be on-road. I know, crazy. But a 3-day on-car week. And we all know what that ask is. You on-road soup's better than all, right? So if an on-road soup comes in hour and a half before driver start time, I know some come in earlier, but we're looking for an hour and a half max before driver start time on a day that they're going to ride, on-road all day, and even under our new dispatch guidelines, say it's an 8-8 day sweet spot day, 8-8 plan, 8-8 scratch day, bing. Then I'm in, then I'm wrapping things up, and then I'm out. What's that? Maybe half an hour at the quickest if you're tidying things up pretty quick after that day. So at best, my day, 8-8 plus an hour and a half, 9-8, 10. I'm looking at a 10-day, and we're driving lunches now, obviously. So I know there's that 8-8 days, really a 9-8 hour span. So it's a long day, and we've always known it's a long day. We've just never cared. And I know we've said we've cared. We've just never done anything about it, so that means we didn't care. Now we're starting to drive, making that right, and it's being driven from the top down. And I'm jumping on the board of it. And I know Ivy's asking questions about it. I know Scott Bermerman, our region manager, is asking questions on how we're making sure that we're allocating the time off for those soups that are on a car 3 days a week. And I think it's a great thing. And because I know there's a lot of skepticism on how we were going to get it done too. Here's how we're going to manage it in the division. The only way I can manage it is if I can see it and ask questions. And here's my expectation in that. If you're on car 3 days, I ask you to plan it. Well, if you're on car 3 days, then I ask you to plan that half day as well. And the way I'm going to have visibility on that is through the SharePoint calendar. So here's an example down the bottom. So I use Kevin Jewett for one. Kevin put in here, I have an ORO activity planned. And since there isn't a half day option in that, in his notes, he started it with half day and then put /ORO, CPM, whatever you want to put in there. But I can pull in based on that half day exactly that. I got an example of what that looks like in the calendar I use for the managers. Okay. So that way I can say when I'm looking at the week, 3 days on road, I got a train, I got a space of viz, I got a performance OJS, I got an in-center day, and then I have a half day planned with a CPM. Boom, right? Now, I may have 3 days on road and a D day and an in-center day. I wouldn't really expect to see a half day plus a D day. I certainly would expect to see a half day if I'm in center covering the manager all week, and then I'm going to schedule a half day. That's not the intent. The intent is for when we're on road, per the expectation, we're taking into consideration that work week and the demands on that piece of the job, and we're allocating that properly. So the way it's going to look like for me, it looks like this. I know this looks kind of busy, but I go through this calendar every day with the managers now at 7:30. I go through the previous day. What did we plan to do? What did we actually do? So I'll use an example. So in this case, let's just say this was a Monday thing. Joe planned a space and viz on Chagru. I don't show anything on Chagru yesterday. What happened? Blah, 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 blah. I know this was planned in ORSA because we still have to plan training rides, space and viz rides, and performance rides in ORSA as well as SharePoint. And I know that's another dual thing, but we query it 2 different ways. Not everybody has a tablet. The region pulls plans out of ORSA. The only way I get visibility 100% on other things other than those rides is using SharePoint. The district uses SharePoint. We got to put it in 2 different systems. I don't have any better answer for that. But I know this was planned in ORSA because I tag it. I pulled it in ORSA. There it goes. Another example, Troy does not have ORSA. So you can see he planned an OJS. Oh, I have touchscreen here. He has an OJS planned for Tuesday, but it just doesn't have an ORSA behind it. So I know that was only planned in SharePoint. But I can see it's planned. And I can go right across now based on the plan that say, okay, Joe for the week had 2 OJSs planned, 2 space and viz rides planned, and actually had 4 on-road rides planned in an in-center day. So, hey, I know some weeks you may only be able to do 1 or 2 rides. Some weeks you may have to do 4 rides. I don't know. On average, we want to say 3 days, and that 1 day half day. So we were just gearing up this half-day planning. What it would look like is if you go down towards the bottom now, if you go back down to KJ's and the example that we put in, KJ has a space and viz planned, covering the manager, a half-day planned, and in this case, he was going to come back in and work the preload to cover the preloads. So the half-day makes sense to me there. Hey, get out of here early because you're going to turn around and come back in for 3 o'clock in the morning. So to me, that's similar to being on the road if you're going to do that as a suit. That makes sense to me. But now I have visibility on half days being planned. This week's calendar looks much different. Wasn't hard pulling to get people to plan half days, quite frankly. So people put those in pretty quick. But it looks good, and that way I can manage it because if we don't manage it, it doesn't get done. Simple as that. And we want it done right. So questions on the calendaring and the expectation around that. One number you'll see over on the far right, and this number is a number updated every day, but the region expectation is 30 performance rides on a tablet for the year. That's why we're tracking that number. If you have a tablet, 30 rides. We came out of the gate to get 6 done right away. We are mensa with that. But by year's end date, that's kind of roughly using 1 ride per driver in a work group, plus a couple of follow-up rides in that. So that's what that is. Questions? Wells, questions?
No, I think it's all good. Ed. I like the new strategies. A lot of it really hasn't changed. The blueprints we used to do monthly, so these one-on-one discussions isn't new, especially to people that have been around a few years. A lot of good stuff. The social media part might be my hardest thing to get a hold of, but I'm willing to make some changes as I always am. And then, the half-day thing's excellent. Once we get that in place, obviously the smaller buildings are feeling the struggles just this month with somebody being on vacation every week, but I think we'll get there because we all want to get there.
Yep, no doubt. Social media is actually way easier than you think. It's cool. Ray, how about Portland?
It's funny, Ed. I was thinking the same thing as far as social media. I definitely have to get better with that. The social media thing here. I think it's a good way to recognize the folks. I think it's a good idea there. Also, the business and personal, reviewing it with your work group. I think that's a big deal. Personalizing it, letting your folks know that you are human too. You're subject to the same risk that they are. So I think that's a good idea. That's putting it out front and center to the work group.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, and that's what I meant by next level of personal. We've done a great job engaging. Now I see that, John. I'll unmute you. We've done a great job engaging with our people. Now and I see the reaction, folks. I mean, when I get into these small groups, Even if I PCM and shared that, the tone changes when you start talking about, I'm not going to be a hypocrite anymore. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do something when I don't do it myself. The tone changes real quick, and they perk up and they listen, and they're like, oh, this is different. And again, you're trying to get somebody to change a behavior when nothing's happened to them yet. It's hard to do. So if you can tell them that you're changing something without anything happening to you yet for all the right reasons, you're not going to get through to everybody, but if you get through to one, that's one more than we got through to before. Yeah, let me unmute you here, John. All right, John, is that you? Oh, yeah, look at here. There's the fuzz, the Bangor fuzz.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, Ed, I agree with what a little bit of what everyone said so far. Ray, I've got to get better with social media myself. I'm great with PowerPoint, I think, but that's not even close to where I need to be with social media. So, and just like most of the guys in my age group, I think we sort of fought it for a while. I know Ed's real good at it, but I think that's something that I can improve on and everyone needs to improve on. But getting the message out to the work groups, sincerity, and reading that letter to the work group, I think is a great idea. People aren't going to buy in unless they believe in what you're saying, and you got to make them believe. So I think that's a critical part. As far as the on-road strategy, I think that's a great idea for the on-road soups. I've heard a lot of talk about it, and I think we're taking a step forward in that direction, so that's good.
A couple great points in that, John. The social media, if you can take a picture with your phone, once you sign up for one of the accounts, it takes you all of about 10 more seconds to post that on social media with a couple notes, and whoever's following you sees it. So it's super easy, just a choice. And then and everything you just talked about there, John, you're right. When you share that with your group, we talk about discretional effort a lot over the years. Your people come to work every day to do a good job. They do a great job because of you. And this is no different. When you share with them, you're creating that bond again to get discretional effort. How do you get them to want to do a great job? Well, that's on you. I can't make them do a great job. That's their direct supervisor, no doubt. No great point. All right, Stacy, as morning report order always has it, Waterville gets to bring us home.
I just have some questions about the social media. Do we have to get a release of information or for them to get their pictures posted? Must we ask ahead of time, can I take your photograph? I mean, I'm like, the older generation, I don't do social media. So is there anything that we should know about that to make sure that we do that appropriately and safely?
No. The only time we need to get releases is when they're going to be posted on a company website. Like if they're going on upsers.com, we would have to get a release. But with the social media, there's nothing like that.
All right. Well, it's good information.
Technically, the social media isn't the company.
Okay.
It's not a corporate, and they'll even tell you that you're not supposed to have UPS in the name. Like I got mine are, UPS Maine. I'm not supposed to have that, even as the champion. It's supposed to be personal to use. Twitter.
So, and the other question I had around that too is that, I can really do PowerPoint videos and stuff like that. I do a lot of fun stuff back from when I was a teacher, but, now that having taken this sort of class thank you for presenting to us, do I need to relook at my statement now of what I've written? And if so, I'd love some feedback and send that back to me before I read it to my group, just because I see our intent a little bit differently now than when I wrote that as my own personal intent. And is that really what we're looking to, because I do incorporate that both in my personal life and my work life and see it very differently since, the training that you've all given me. So yeah. I would like some feedback to make sure it's the right thing.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah, it's funny you say that. You can come on in, Kim. It's funny you say that because if you look at the doc that I sent out, the Word doc, which was a while ago, it actually has a 2 at the end of it. I ended up writing a second one myself. I wrote the first one, and then it was fine. It was personal and whatever. But then when I realized the whole story behind the rolling the stop sign thing, I realized, what, this this is what I certainly need to fix myself, but I know it's so relatable to what we do every day, and I know a lot of other people have that same habits out there. So I did the same thing. I reflected and I rewrote that part of my letter and changed what I committed to fix. Yeah, that's nothing. It's not locked in stone. We can change it anytime. That's a great point.
Excellent.
All right. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate the time. Let's see how long. Yeah, it's been running about 45 minutes, so you got the full money there today. All right. I appreciate the time, everybody. Let's have a safe night. Take care. See you. No, there's one, like I said, I'm doing these 11-step training calls. I recorded that one, so I'm going to see, because after tomorrow, I'm not going to do any more. 4 will be enough. Oh, yeah, I can stop.